And it got stuck in the trap.
Yes.
Yeah, go figure.
Great white hunter.
Good morning. We're honored to have Bill Persinger join us this morning, and I'd ask Bill to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to the January 28th, 2019 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3 alongside Commissioner Bill Rippon, who represents District 1, and Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First item of business, please.
Item 1, proclamations presentation of Vallejo's quarterly report. Bill Persinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners Rippon and Cook. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm with Dick Klein, who is the, and Mike Wilson just got here. I believe you've got copies of the presentation today. I'll run through here real quick and then stand for questions. The financial report is attached. We have some unaudited figures. If the numbers hold up, it looks like we'll be plus 450,000 for last year. In terms of operational days, that's about 53 weeks of revenue for 52 weeks of expenses. So it's kind of the way you want to go. Had a pretty good year. I want to say thank you again to the county for the continued support. The Medicaid income held up pretty well, slipped some in December, but sometimes it does. We hope it bounces back in January, kind of watching that pretty closely. The other big factor, though, was a nearly $1 million in new state grant funding that we were able to secure for last calendar year, and made all the difference in the world. We were able to take nearly all those dollars and apply them to crisis care, and more specifically to crisis care for people who are uninsured, people who we otherwise would have treated, but for which there would have been no compensation. So I want to say thanks again in public to former KDAD Secretary Tim Keck and his crew and state government for their support of mental health. Look forward to continued support as well. But 2018 is going to be one of those years we look back on and say, well, we had a lot of great conditions come together, some fair weather, if you will, unlike today. So brings us back around to grants, and again, the two big pillars of our funding are grants and Medicaid, and specifically grants that allow us to work with the uninsured. So we're working with KDADs to continue those funds. Their authority for making certain grants expired on 12/31, just the way the grants were written. So there are 4 or 5 community mental health centers around the state working on continuation of that crisis funding, specifically for the uninsured, here in the remainder of state fiscal 19. So, Commissioners, we're hoping, got our fingers crossed, doing all the right things to keep some of that money coming back in. I don't think it's going to be another $1 million. I just don't know. But hopefully there'll be some temporary aid in place by the state until the lottery machine vending revenue starts kicking in, maybe towards the middle or the end of the year, which should statewide produce about $8.5 million for crisis care in mental health centers, and we're sure hoping that Vallejo's in the way of some of that revenue. So we will keep you posted on that. Our 3rd annual Unmasking Stigma fundraiser is set for Saturday, October 19. We had about a 20% or so increase in 2018 over 2017 in the revenue we generated. I think we grossed probably just over $80,000 this year at that one particular fundraiser. So it was well worth it, and have a good event planned so far for the 19th. We were awarded a $20,000 grant out of a health group in Iowa to further reduce emergency room utilization. So we'll be working with our primary care, our psychiatric care, the hospitals and others to reduce emergency room care. I don't have a lot of details about it to present to you, but I'll try to keep you posted as that grant comes online. Just want to maybe point out a few of the local collaborations. Of course, always our health department, corrections, and others that work in public safety and public health. I've been doing some work, quite a bit of work with Heartland Visioning and the other groups. I'll just let you breeze down through there. We continue our joint discussions with Breakthrough House here in Topeka, one of our affiliates. We do pass them some county and state funds to focus on adults who are mentally ill. A lot of whom don't have insurance. Dick Klein here is working on a project with us and representing the board, looking at another way to do day treatment, hoping to collaborate with Breakthrough House on that. Continue our work with the court systems and others. We are watching pretty closely the 72-hour Involuntary Hold Act that was passed in the 2017 legislature, but for which there are no current regulations or money to operate those. We've got some partners on board, talked to the court system, hospitals, and other providers about how can we possibly someday provide secure 72-hour holds so that people don't have to go down to Osawatomie, save a trip down there for everybody, family and law enforcement. Mental Health Task Force I served on was appointed by Senator Hensley last summer. Has completed its work. That report's been made to the legislature. It contains a lot of recommendations for kids and adults that have mental illness and other problems, including crisis care, which is big for us, and housing, and helping people who are mentally ill get jobs and keep jobs, and peer support, and all those things that we would like to see happen to restore the Kansas public mental health system to its once former great state. So I'll stop there for questions and comments.
Are there questions, comments, or compliments for Bill this morning?
Commissioner.
Yes, Commissioner Cook.
Just always my thanks to Bill and his team for everything they do in mental health in Shawnee County, working especially with Department of Corrections, trying to transition individuals back into society, and so making sure we don't have those gaps. And I know that it's been pretty key and critical having a person in the jail working with Brian Cole and his staff.
I think we've got a couple folks working in there now, an alcohol and drug therapist and a peer support worker in there part-time that can help arrange for, upon release, can we get a job, can we get a place to live? You can hear us a lot in the next couple of years talk about housing and work. It's kind of the two primary things we want to do for people right out of the chute. So.
Commissioner?
Yes.
I want to echo Commissioner Cook's comments, but I had an opportunity to get a tour of the facility and meet some of the staff, and I certainly appreciate that.
Thank you.
You do fill an important void in this community, so thank you for all you do.
Many thanks, Commissioner. Thank you all. Take care.
Well, wait a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
I was going to compliment you on the job that you're doing at Vallejo. We partnered with Vallejo for a number of years, and what's most encouraging to me is when we have a partner who is as budget and financially conscious as Shawnee County is.
Yes.
And you are, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Job well done. Thank you.
Your dollars are precious to us, as is your support, Commissioner. Thank you, sir.
All right, absolutely. Thank you. Next item of business, please.
Item 3, consent agenda.
There, one item on the consent agenda. Is there questions or comments?
I'd move for approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Cook, and that was seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioner, let's see, under Building and Maintenance, Cook, Flat, and Strobel Engineering, PA, $9,250 for design services for survey of Deer Creek Extension. Under Information Technology, SHI, International Corp., $15,998 is for McAfee Complete Endpoint Protection. Under Green Space Parklands, Professional Engineering Consultants, PA, $10,462.36 for services for the land and trail bridge repairs. Under Sheriff, Cycle Zone LLC, $23,277.95 is for a 2019 Can-Am 4-seat UTV. And then Stalker radar totaling $47,445 is for 15 radar units with connector cables. Total vouchers as of 1/25/2019, $1,206,923.22.
Move to approve.
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve the vouchers by Commissioner Rippon and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Commissioner. Next item, please.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve the correction orders by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next three items, please.
Okay, items 3, 4, and 5, I will read them and then explain as I'm reading. Item A3, consider approval of renewal of a tax exemption incentive for economic development for year 8 for Big Heart Brands. And they did retain 50 full-time positions. Item A4, consider approval of renewal of a tax exemption and incentive for economic development for year 5 for Big Heart Pet Brands. And they maintained 33 positions, 10 new ones and 23 existing. And A5, consider approval of renewal of a tax exemption incentive for economic development for year 3 for Big Heart Pet Brands. And they have 28 full-time positions that they have maintained. And all of these requests were reviewed by the Counselor's Office, and he agreed that they had met the criteria of the resolution, and therefore put them forward for approval.
Very good. Questions or comments on these items?
I have none. Move for approval of all three.
Second.
Motion made to approve A3, A4, and A5 by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B, Health Department. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-59-2019 with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment for funding in the amount of $11,000 for the mosquito surveillance program in Shawnee County from January 4, 2019 through October 31st, 2019.
Morning, Commissioners. Craig Barnes, Health Department. Again, we are asking for approval for this agreement with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment for the continuation of our mosquito surveillance program. This is now in its 3rd year. We do a great partnership with KDHE. We set up 6 traps throughout Shawnee County to track the number of mosquitoes and then to look at the species and to look at which vectors out of those mosquito species are the primary carriers for viruses such as West Nile virus and Zika. So this gives us kind of an early indicator if we have any positive mosquito pools in our community so that we can do preventative messaging around that. We have a great partnership with the Information Technology Department here with Shawnee County to post our mosquito surveillance data on our website, so it's updated weekly to make sure that we can track exactly how many mosquitoes are in those traps on a weekly basis through the mosquito season, which runs from May to October. So the $11,000 in this agreement that we're looking at is to pay staff time in our departments, which is environmental health, our emergency preparedness and community outreach, and then epidemiology, to place the traps, to grab the traps, to ship the traps, and then we also leverage our Medical Reserve Corps volunteers as well. They help out with a lot of this as well. So, and then the other portion of the money is to help put together our dump day campaign, which I know you commissioners are well aware of at this point in time. And so that also goes in the same mosquito season, and that is to encourage the public to dump their water to eliminate the possible breeding sites for mosquitoes. So I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Did we have any instances of West Nile or Zika last year?
We had 1 case last year of West Nile virus and 0 of Zika last year, so which was down from the year before. So.
What was the year before?
In 2017, we had 4 cases of West Nile virus and 1 case of Zika.
We did have a case of Zika
Yes.
year before. Okay, very good. Any comments or questions, Commissioner Cook?
Craig, with this being our 3rd year, are we starting to gather enough data to be able to have trends and comparisons, be able to assist the townships, Auburn, Silver Lake, Rossville, so they can better treat mosquito eradication, and so helping it spread, and our epidemiologist.
Epidemiological? Yes, yes, we definitely have. And so where our traps are placed, we've been able to start having those conversations with those municipalities to look at what preventative measures we can have, whether that's the placement of mosquito dunks or if they do spray, how to leverage their spraying to make it more effective. And so those types of conversations are starting, and we're more than open to answer any questions that those municipalities might have to really make sure that what we're doing with the tracking and the surveillance is in the best interest for them to help bring those numbers down if they have those higher numbers.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Rippon, and that was seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you very much,
Next item,
Commissioners.
please.
Item C, corrections. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C60-2019 with Tech Electronics for the inspection of all fire alarms and detectors at the Adult Detention Center, Juvenile Detention Center, and the Corrections Annex at a cost of $10,915 per year for 3 years with funding from the 2019 department budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is just a contract to enter in for us to allow us to stay in compliance with all of our accreditation as well as our safety and security aspects when it comes to the alarm and detection inspections. They do come in and test those regularly for safety and security reasons, and also when it comes to the Juvenile Detention Center, we have to, and also for, well, all of our buildings, we have to be able to show to the fire marshal and all of our auditors and creditors that we have adequate safety and inspections of our systems. We do have the money to budget for this, and this is goes right within our mission critical issues. So I'd be happy to stand for any questions you may have.
Questions for Brian on this?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item C2, consider approval of request to solicit bids for a 100-pound washer extractor for the inmate laundry at a cost of $16,100 with funding from the 2019 capital outlay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. As part of the approval from the Board of County Commissioners for 2019 capital outlay, this is to allow us to go out for bids and for our 100-pound washer that we do all the inmate laundry in the facility, which is all the clothes, the blankets. The facility machine that we currently have now is 22 years old. It is starting to show its wear and tear in there. We do a lot of laundry. Average daily population right now is well over about 550 inmates, so we are seeing an increase in our population, but the daily, and we have 3 shifts of inmates who work as trustees doing laundry constantly, so this is just to maintain that, but this is just to go out for bids on our washer, and this was approved through our capital outlay of this year. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yes, Commissioner Cook.
Several years ago, we went out and bought a new, was it the dryer?
Yes.
So this is a replacement then of the washer.
Yes.
And again, the dryer also had the same lifespan. So
Yes, we try to hold on to these as long as we can and maintain all the updates and the filters and cleaning and stuff like this. But after a certain, it's well past its life, and they say it's about 10 years, and we got twice as much out of it. But it is time their maintenance, and even the dealers are saying, Brian, I don't know how you guys have gotten this long with this, but it's time for you to change.
And again, this is a commercial grade. This is a heavy duty.
Oh yeah, it's as big as this wall. Yeah, it's huge.
Are there other questions or analogies?
I'd move for approval.
I will second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item C3, consider approval of request to solicit bids for a 2019 transit cargo van and an inmate transport insert at an approximate cost of $60,000 to $80,000 with funding from the 2018 capital outlay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. It is correct that back in 2018, the Commission was very gracious of approving a capital outlay expenditure for us to look at a new cargo van, which is basically for the transportation back and forth of both the juveniles and adult offenders in the Department of Corrections. Back in 2018, we were fortunate enough through a conference to get a hold of one of our vendors that deal in this kind of stuff, and through the middle of this had a van that was ready to go, already had the insert in it and showed it. I brought out our transport staff and security staff. They loved it. In the middle of us, they were transporting it across to another conference, and they stopped in Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, and then us on their way out, I believe, to Colorado or wherever. But in the middle of our negotiations, they sold it out and from underneath us to a agency in Kansas City. So that put us back to the drawing board again of looking and taking another look at this. We know it's time that we need to get another security van with the cage. The cage allows us to separate both the staff from the inmates, but also gives us an added security to be able to secure the inmates to where they're safe during the transport, but also an added layer of safety and security where somebody couldn't just open up a door and just, so these are security grade deals where they get a van and they insert the van cell inside of it. But this was approved back in 2018, and I acknowledge to our staff that we either get on it or we give the funds back, and so we're ready to move forward. And this is just to be able to go out for bids.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Cook.
Brian, we had the problem in 2018 with the size of the van being able to go into our Sally Port here at the courthouse, that the Sally Port was too low. Correct. And the van was too high.
Yes.
So how are we going to address that?
This will be a van that will be the same size as our vans now. So it was very costly. We worked with Bill a little bit on that, but just being able to upgrade and move that up was just going to be extremely costly. I think if they ever do any big renovations to the courthouse, that's something we do look at. But at that time, we were looking at a much bigger van to hold a lot more, and they just didn't have it to go in there. This one will fit in the existing Sally Port that we have here.
Mr. Chairman, I would move for approval to solicit the bids.
I'll second that. Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Brian. Next item, please.
Item D, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of request to advertise and hire 15 intermittent summer staff positions at a cost not to exceed $155,000 with funding from administration, survey, road maintenance, and bridge maintenance funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works and Solid Waste. I'm here before you asking to approve to advertise and hire up to 15 temporary positions. These positions are important because they perform basically mowing and traffic control functions for our maintenance activities. This permits our permanent staff to perform more tasks that require training or experience, and it frees them up to do the more important things that they've been trained to do. So that's kind of where we're at. They would be hired at between $11 and $12 per hour, dependent on if they've worked for us before and the number of years they've worked for us. And depending on the position and where they're located, that's where it determines what fund they would come out of. For example, if they worked in surveys, they would come out of a different fund as if they worked in maintenance. Questions?
Very good. Questions, comments? I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item D2, consider approval of request to solicit bids for 2 dump trucks at a cost of approximately $302,000 for both, with funding from the 2019 Capital Outlay Fund.
Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works and Solid Waste. Back in December 10th of 2018, you approved a capital budget that included 2 dump trucks for Public Works. I'm here before you asking that we go send this out for bid so that we could ultimately purchase these 2 dump trucks. These dump trucks are the standard dual axle 54,000 gross vehicle weight trucks that really form the backbone of what we do in maintenance. I mean, they're involved in everything from hauling bulk materials during the summers to doing snow removal activities in the winter. So these are really critical to our core functions, and I'm hopeful you will approve this request. Questions?
Questions for Mr. Niehaus?
I have none.
I move that we approve the request.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Rippon, and that was seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item D3, consider approval of request to purchase 3 heavy-duty zero-turn industrial mowers off the state contract with Hustler Turf Equipment, Kansas, at a total cost of $37,247.52, with funding from the 2019 Special Machinery Fund.
Good morning again. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works and Solid Waste. The 3 mowers that we're replacing, they're 2004 model year mowers. We received them, Public Works received them in 2014 from Parks and Rec. Thanks, John. They do not have the rollover protection. Based on their age, it's well over $2,000 a year average to maintain these mowers, which, considering the replacement cost, is quite significant. So we would like to replace these mowers using state contract. We have a total of 5 mowers, so we will be replacing 3, and they do have, these replacement mowers do have the protection, the rollover protection equipment. And we will pay for those out of our special machinery fund.
Are we working closely with Parks and Rec and coordinating the functions that we have as far as mowing and maintenance?
As far as I know, we are. I know if I have an open door policy, and if John has any concerns or questions about how we can share the mowing activities, Public Works is more than happy to work with Parks and Rec to solve those issues.
Good. That's good to know. Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Cook?
Kurt, many jurisdictions have gone to a remote mowing device for steep hills or inclines. Has our Public Works Department looked into that so that we would avoid all manned personnel on those steep inclines and hills?
To my knowledge, we have not.
Okay. Again, I know that the cost is often sometimes prohibitive, but many jurisdictions, including Pittsburgh and other locales, have gone to those where they are remote mowing devices, again, so you avoid people being on the mowers and avoid the tip overs. So it might just be worth us checking into, again, for a cost analysis and safety.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're on the cutting edge here today, aren't you? So to speak.
I'll move for approval.
Okay.
I will second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
Well done. Next item, please.
Item E, appraiser number 1, consider approval of request to fill a vacant appraiser 1 position at a salary including benefits of $49,152, and approval to fill any positions that become vacant as a result of filling this one.
Good morning, Commissioner. Steve Bauman, County Appraiser. This position was recently vacated through a resignation, and it's in our budget and for 2019, and I'd appreciate being able to refill it as it's necessary to the success of our office.
Questions?
I have none.
None.
I'll move to approve the request.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item E2, consider approval of request to promote 2 appraisal 1 employees to appraiser 2 employees.
Commissioners, with this item, we've recently had 2 appraisers that obtained their registered mass appraiser designation, which is one of the first steps required to advance to the appraiser 2 level. It's not easy to do, so I congratulate them on achieving that. Also, in doing that first step, they've met all the necessary requirements to be promoted to the appraiser 2 position. This will come with increased appraisal difficulty levels and increased duties. We did budget for this potential for our 2019. I have got Angela Lewis, HR, stamp of approval for it, and did run this through Betty Griner as well. I'd happy to answer any questions.
Are there questions?
Move for approval. And congratulations to your members on their achievements.
Thank you very much. I'll pass that along.
I'll second that.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. And yes, our congratulations for receiving the RMA designation. Next item, please.
Item E3, consider approval of request to award a bid for change detection services to Pushpin at a total cost of $11,400 with funding from the Land Records Committee.
Commissioners, you might recall this is the change detection services that we requested and did a presentation on. Commissioner Rippon, I think you may have been here in the audience, but basically what this is, it will compare our 2014 aerial imagery that we had taken with our 2018 aerial imagery, and it'll tell us what changes have occurred since then. So, and it's very specific. So it'll pick up the differences between, say, a new garage. It'll tell us it's a garage or an addition to the house or a new house or driveways, decks, patios, that kind of thing. You approved us to go out for bid on this, and we had one bid returned, and we're asking today for you to accept and award that bid and allow us to negotiate a contract. I will note, however, that that contract has been negotiated and ready to be signed off on, so I'll present that next Monday if you approve us today. This funding for this will be coming from the land records, and it's likely it's going to more than pay for itself, allowing us to do our job, another tool, I guess, for us to do our job. So,
This is for a 1 year.
yeah, this is just one time, 15 cents per parcel, $11,400 for the entire county.
Okay. And
If
you
it's successful, I wouldn't mind looking at it again when we hopefully get new aerials in 2020 and make another comparison to see how successful that is as well.
Do you believe this will bring more equity to property taxpayers in Shawnee County?
That's exactly, I think, what it'll do. I mean, it should bring in a potential for an increase of, maybe $100,000, $150,000, but more importantly, it will make it more equitable for those people that do build without permits or without notifying our office, and so they're paying lower taxes than what they should be. Their neighbors picking that up.
Okay, thanks for pointing that out. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner Rippon.
So they reshoot these every year? Is that, or how often do they update?
Well, there's two different things happening here. The aerial photography, which we get those about every 2 years. We try and get them updated every 2 years, and they're used by not only our office, but Sheriff's Office and Public Works, Parks and Rec. I mean, it's countywide they're being used. What we're asking to do today is to contract with this company that will provide us a change detection service. So it'll look at the aerials that were already flown in 2014 and compare that to the aerials that we've already had flown for 2018, and then tell us what those differences are and identify specifically what those differences are.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Good job. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you,
Next item,
Commissioners.
please.
Item F, Sheriff's Office, number 1, consider approval of request to create an unclassified position of Business Technology Coordinator with a salary of $34.32 hourly with funding from the 2019 budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Captain Hubler from the Sheriff's Office. This is a position that is sorely needed at the Sheriff's Office. We have, as a lot of law enforcement have moved into the world of technology more and more. Our CAD RMS system with Tyler New World, we've had that in place for a long time. We've added, over the years, continued to add modules that have more information and are able to do actually a lot more than what we are able to get out of them because a lot of us at the Sheriff's Office aren't really technologically savvy. And what we're looking to do is add this position so that we have someone in-house that can find these.
That's interested in his command staff and their compensation. I just want to make sure that somebody's got the big picture here, and that includes the sheriff. So I'd like opportunity that we have in the sheriff's office. Are there other thoughts on that, Commissioner Cook?
Mr. Chairman, I think that our agenda is set for this Thursday, the 31st. The sheriff has a presentation regarding a radio manager, which was going to be a more than $100,000 addition to the sheriff's office expenses.
Wow.
So I think if the sheriff is going to be here on Thursday to address the need for a radio manager, rather than having it go for a week, which I don't have an issue with,
okay,
we might be able to take this up on Thursday.
Paying for out a contract that does a little bit of this work for us. He also does work for several other agencies, and we're trying to get that person, a person, to do that type of work for us full-time.
Excellent. Then we can explore that opportunity on Thursday.
Okay.
Commissioner.
Motion, is it?
Just one. Jane will have to put out a new agenda for that because we already have the Thursday agenda out. So we'll make sure you just have to, so people are aware that the agenda that's out there for the 31st will be
And amended.
changed, revised. Yeah.
Amended,
So we're
okay.
okay. All right, just so that just made so that they look at it and they see there's a different one.
So Commissioner, my motion then would be if you would accept it as a friendly amendment to defer action on this item until January the 31st, and noting that the agenda for the 31st would be amended to reflect the addition of this item.
Very good.
Second.
Motion, as Commissioner Cook said, made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Captain Hubler, and thank you, Commissioners. Next item, please.
Item G, Commission Number 1, consider reappointment of Pam Wallstrom to the Kansas Expo Center Board as the at-large appointee for a three-year term ending December 31st, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve Pam's attendance and contribution to the success of our Expo Center is outstanding, and I'll make a motion to approve the reappointment.
Second.
Motion made to an opportunity for department heads or any member of the public to take as much.
Well, if no one else is going to come forward, I just wanted to let everyone know that this morning, or actually yesterday, message boards went out on the Southeast 29th project, alerting the public to a February 4th closure. So, again, just wanted to let everybody know it's an important time.
Thank you. Thank you, Kurt.
Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department. I didn't want to be first. Today we started our Basic Officer Academy. We have 14 security staff and 2 support staff that'll go through 2 weeks of training regarding our goals and missions and policy procedures. So we started that, and then on February 8th, which you'll all be involved, I'll make sure it gets on your calendar, very busy calendars of our graduation. So I just wanted to announce that we have our Basic Officer Academy starting today.
Excellent. Thank you, Brian.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Site Inspector of Venue Management, the Kansas Expo Center. I just wanted to thank you on reappointing Pam Wallstrom onto our Advisory Center Board. As Pam and many of our members do, they spend a considerable amount of time, effort, and dedication in ensuring that our operation of the Expo Center is successful. That transition has been more apparent this past year as they've given us a lot of background knowledge and history on the way certain operations were done prior and how we can advance and move those into this next year. So although we are also sad to see Mary Thomas not able to be reappointed, we are looking forward to your new appointee. So thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly. Anyone else this morning? Commissioner Cook.
Last week, the TARC facility held an update of Light After the Lights, Winter Wonderland update. I understand the Parks and Recreation was able to attend. I look forward to their presentation here at the County Commission level. It's always good to hear. And I want to thank John Knight, Randy Luby for all of their hard work, for the millions of lights and hours and volunteer work that goes into Winter Wonderland. It's a good cause for the community. So thank you to John and Randy and all of your team.
Commissioner?
I have nothing.
I have nothing to add this morning either. Next item, please.
Item 6, executive session.
There's not a need for an executive session this morning, so we're officially adjourned. Thank you. Phil, where you been?